All right, so Led Zeppelin 3 was recorded at Headley Grange, but it was mixed in the States. And do you know where it was mixed?
I have a few guesses, but I don't. I will not pretend that I actually know.
All
So
right, well,
I'm going to say no. I don't know.
okay, I'm going to give you an easy hint. You and I have both been there.
It's not Sun Studios. That could leave only Ardent.
Yeah, it was at Ardent Studios. Um, although technically, I guess you and I have both been to Stax too. Although that wasn't the actual studio, that was,
It
a
was a
museum.
facsimile, yes. And I
Right.
mean, we went to Sun, and I think in our Graceland tour, we got to go to the home studio of Elvis. I
Yeah.
know we recorded in the Jungle Room.
But yeah, and there's a Led Zeppelin story. I shouldn't sidebar on this because I don't remember all the details, but Led Zeppelin went to visit Elvis at Graceland too. So there's some Memphis Led Zeppelin history. But Led Zeppelin 3 was mixed at Ardent, Jimmy Page along with Terry Manning, and it was because they were on the road at the time, and they toured so much and recorded so much that everything kind of ran into each other. Like they didn't really finish an album before they started touring, because they were just constantly on the go. And so while they were touring, uh, Jimmy Page got in touch, I guess with Terry Manning, and knew that Ardent was a state of the art studio, and went there to mix the album.
Yeah, there's that is. I mean, like, again, when you go in there now to Ardent Studios, you don't go there looking for the state of the art necessarily. You go there looking for the history. So it's very different to think about them
Well,
being back in the day doing that.
yeah, I mean, it's still a top-notch studio. It's when even though recording, it might not be state of the art in the digital sense, but in the analog sense, that's still one of the destinations, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, it should be. It's one of the very few. I mean, of all the spaces that are like sacred as places where music is recorded, it's one of the most fan friendly I think I've ever heard of. I mean, there's that was it Carol Kay going into Sunset Sound after being in the Wrecking Crew and they didn't even recognize her. You know what I mean? Like, Ardent is always had a history of being very much a music lovers mecca too. You know, wonder how they figured that out. Did Elvis? What did Elvis record at Ardent? Anything?
He recorded at Stax. I don't think he ever recorded at Ardent, but definitely it was a big thing when he recorded at Ardent. I think for many reasons. Like I think he kind of took over while he was there, which wasn't to everybody's liking. But I don't have all the details on that story, so I shouldn't go into it.
Well, I don't think most people would associate Led Zeppelin. I mean, they maybe associate them with the Memphis Sound or the Electric Blues, but not actually recording in Memphis. And it's their least electric album. That's very interesting.
Well, again, they didn't record there; just did the mixing.
Well, I'm sure Atlantic Records will find a way to put out a 9 disc set from the afternoon they spent there. There's no doubt that it will get its run. Sorry, that is so cynical. That's cynical.
Well, yeah.
Well, come on, admit, like, come on, these reissues, like, where they just put different mixes on. You know what? That's it. That's why I'm being a little snarky today. I'm going to be honest with you. It's that I think Led Zeppelin overreached with those reissues with the extra discs of like alternate mixes and stuff. Really, 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 who wants that? Nobody. It's just been milked too hard. So now I'm in. There you go. Now you've turned me against Jimmy Page and mixing.
Hmm.
I did not mean to blackpill this flick. Now I'm inconsolable. It's gonna be
I'll,
how it
I'll,
has to end.
yeah, I guess we'll see if this just isn't doomed. But I will speak out in his defense because when he originally remastered Led Zeppelin, I don't know if digital was quite to where it is now. So he probably did the most recent remasters as a way to do like the definitive remastering of it. because the technology is a lot better now as far as making something that is digital but has can duplicate, what the sound quality of analog recording.
Yeah, the number of really botched reissues with bad remasters has gone down pretty significantly. There aren't a ton of them anymore. Just those nightmare remasters. All right, well, I'm back willing to tolerate the discussion of Jimmy Page at the mixing board. Wow, it really came a long way. Thanks, Flick. You're making me a better me.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to look back at the fact that that was the early '90s when he was remastering those box sets, and that really wasn't the prime time to do it. He was early. He was the early bird on it, but not wasn't necessarily the best place to be.
Yeah, especially once they decided to take off Living Loving Maid. They probably should have had a friend intervene then, but that's not what happened. And they went on to sell many, many box sets.
Because they all hated Living Loving Maid. They hated it.
Down by the Seaside, I think, also didn't make it to the first box set. Who? What are
That's
they
that's true.
thinking?
That's true. I disagree with that one. Yeah, I do like Down by the Seaside a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
there.
that's rough. That's really that's unforgivable. I'm sorry. So does that
Yeah,
make that Led Zeppelin box set one of the worst ever by not having Down by the Seaside? I'm going to say yes.
I would say no because it does have and quality on it. It just there were bound to be some things that got left off. They should have just really. I would say, looking back on it, not that there's any real need to. I don't know that anybody's still. Not many people are investing in CDs at this point. And if they are, they can just buy both box sets probably fairly cheap on eBay or wherever.
It's just a box set. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say the one thing that doesn't make a lot of sense to me is why not just do 6 discs instead of 4, and then you have everything on the box set.
Because they did that later when you could buy the box with all the albums in it, and then you can buy all the albums now with all the extras in it. It's just the artists we love are selling the rights to their stuff for good reason because saps like me go out and buy reissues and repackages so I can reevaluate the songs, as Morrissey said. I buy all the reissues, so I guess I don't get to complain.
Even though at this point you're probably not buying all that much.
No, in fact, yeah, you're right. I try to buy only new music from, yeah, like artists that I really like. I want to make sure I buy their record. Yeah, it's strange because I do buy records I don't even open. It's strange. Weird times. All right. Well, there would never be a copy of Led Zeppelin 3 I think of that I wouldn't open greedily. You must be in heaven on Led Zeppelin 3 getting, because for years that was the black sheep of the catalog, and then it finally got in like what, the early 2000s. I think everybody fell in love with it again.
Well, I don't know that I would ever say it was the black sheep. I think it was always the hidden gem. Um, and yeah, I think and this goes back to the show that we did, and really the reason I think why I wanted to do the show that we did was because an album like Led Zeppelin 3, part of the reason why I always loved it so much, I think, is because the radio overlooked it, and that meant that everything was fresh to me when I first heard it. Whereas like the first time I heard Led Zeppelin 4 in its entirety, I already knew a lot of the songs on it, and that kind of ruins the experience a little bit.
Yeah, but and it's a testament to how great Immigrant Song is that even though that one does get pummeled into the ground, I don't think I actually think it's for the amount of times it's been played, I actually think it's held up better than almost any of the stuff that's been beaten to death by them. Immigrant Song is never tiring. I can't think of an occasion where I wouldn't listen to it. So
So
as good as
I have to
yep,
question you singling this out because are
yeah.
you singling it out because it's highly streamed?
It's well, no, this is just going to make you mad because it's the reaction videos. All the kids who do these reaction videos, these young people who weren't around for all of the Led Zeppelin and then the replay of it all,
Mhm.
they go for Immigrant Song right away because some movie they all like has it in it.
Right, because it was in Thor Ragnarok.
All right, there you go. So it's in Thor Ragnarok. So people, so there's lots of reaction videos for it. So Immigrant Song gets tons of streams in that context. But
Uh,
I will say it is the best song on Led Zeppelin 3, right? Yeah, that's beyond
no,
debate.
no,
Ooh.
that's the way is the best song on the album.
Oh,
That's that's the way is I I probably put I don't know where Celebration Day is better than Immigrant Song too.
oh my
Um,
God. Are you kidding me?
Absolutely not. But okay. So again, before we venture off into a different sidebar, let's stay on the sidebar we were just on. Um, okay, so so you like to go to this place where people are still reacting to something, but there you see an example that they're still reacting to Immigrant Song because it was in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. But that is who Led Zeppelin is to the most people who know who Led Zeppelin is. Like if you ask a person, a normal person in the world you actually live in right now, if they know any Led Zeppelin songs, it's probably now Immigrant Song that they know and not Stairway.
Yeah, but you have to acknowledge the reason why.
I don't think that. Yeah, but that doesn't. You say that if it's like that's bad. I think having lazy FM radio programmers just beat Stairway to Heaven into the ground for 25 years is a much worse sin than Thor Ragnarok picking a winner for their movie. They paid a ton for that.
Yeah, I'll go along with you that one's worse than the other, but neither of them are really the reason to single out one of their songs. Uh, One's just as random as the other. I mean, it's
We'll never agree on this because while I don't care for Stairway, Stairway is like an anomaly in their in that it's it's multiple songs made into one. Like the only other song that's that good and has that much of a like a medley quality is probably Band on the Run. Band on the Run is maybe the only one better than that than Stairway at that. Whereas uh, Immigrant Song is the shortest song I think they have by far, or pretty close. It's like 2.5 minutes. It's unlike almost all their other singles for sure, and it is the best of the high energy stuff they have ever done. And they basically figured out how to do it in 2.5 minutes, which is
yeah.
very unlike them. They're the
I
least economical band in the 70s, other than King Crimson, maybe.
yeah, I like both of those songs just fine. But what I'm saying is they have a lot of other great songs. Uh, I don't like the idea of just trying to reduce somebody's catalog to just one or two songs, and that's basically the problem that I have with all of that.
I understand, but you can disagree with it, but it is the most common way music is understood. The majority of people only know the most popular stuff of the most popular artists. This is how music works. This is how the
Right.
industry, the entire, like it may not be great, but it is. Like it's
Yeah.
indisputable.
It doesn't mean that I should want to go along with it. I mean, really, the whole point to me of why I do this show is because I don't like that way of thinking. You know, to just reduce. You know, the common complaint that I always have is reducing the Who down to Pinball Wizard and Won't Get Fooled Again. You and I both love the Who, and so
Yeah,
I would think we can be on the same page, you know, about that. You know, just reducing the Who down to two or three songs
agreed.
isn't right. And that's the reason why I like doing this show is because to me I like making a point of going beyond that.
The hammer of your gods drives your ships to new lands, whereas others are more inclined to stick around the more familiar waters.
That's right.
Sold, Flick. I'm in.
Okay, well, we're on the same page then, right?
See? I mean, I know you don't mean that as a double entendre, or not a double entendre. I know that's not wordplay. But even that, being on the same page, bringing this home like that,
Yep.
like you're a pro.
I'm jonesing for more.
Damn, there is no way out, even when there is a way out. All right, you win. You win. You're the real thing. I'm
Uh,
just a plant.
I was just about to say, well, as long as I know I've planted the seed.
That leaves me with John, Bonzo, or Bonham to work with. So I'm screwed, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's harder to get Bonzo in there.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna sign off by saying
But I
Bonzo.
do have to go to the John, so we should wrap this up.
You know what? Everybody should know that Flick is a trained comedian, and I have to compete. And I don't even claim to be an amateur one. And I
You
have to
know,
compete against that.
you
That's
know,
not fair. That's
I
BS.
no, it is fair actually
No,
because
no.
you don't learn these skills in improv. That's not what they teach you. They don't teach you to come up with puns. In fact, you're probably being trained to stay away from that sort of humor. so so really that whole wordplay thing that has
Whoa,
nothing to do with my improv training.
whoa. Kitten has claws. Feels like I hit a sensitive spot there.
Nah,
All right. Well, I can't back down from that posture because it's factual, which is you're a pro and you're trained, and I don't expect myself to win in that context. Maybe you do, and I'll just look at that as a rousing endorsement of me by you, and I thank you for it.
all right. Well, we'll see.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.